Hey y'all, I am Andrea and this is VW Family Farm, and welcome back. I actually just filmed a whole video and realized I didn't introduce myself very well, so this is actually at the end of the video, but I'm going to tack this on the beginning. I want to say thank you to the response to the last video. That was just some of my honest thoughts. Thank you to all of you who watched that and left nice comments or just left honest comments. They don't always have to be, you know, agreeing with me or whatever, but if you're just kind about it, that's fine. And I thank you for that. And we have a lot of new faces around here, so I wanted to take just a quick second and introduce myself. My name is Andrea. My husband, Ben, he's probably about to walk up. And then we have two kids that were about 7 and 8 or 8 and 9 when we bought our first homestead animal, which was an old spot pig. And then it's just grown from there. We have raised our kids on this farm. They know the value of hard work. It's a part of who they are. They're kind of spreading their wings. They both worked part-time for us all through their teenage years. Our son has gotten his first full-time job off the farm. He's had several part-time jobs, worked hard through his teenage years for us and other people, but he has got a full-time career job now, and our daughter is in school and headed that direction. We homeschooled and graduated both of them. Pretty proud of them. So their names are Lane and Emily. If you go back and watch old videos, you'll see a lot of them because they helped build this thing from the ground up. And then here's Ben and I. Ben, come over here. So here we are. We're the ones left here. So they've grown up. It's just us now. We are seeing what all we can do. I feel like we're still young. We got married young, had kids young, and so now here we are. We got grown kids, and I feel like we are still pretty young.
I don't honestly feel like it. I'm hurting all over
your body.
Yeah, but I was an old bull rider, so paying for my fun times back in the day.
But that's where we are. We got a lot of fun times ahead of us. I think we have handled empty nest pretty well. We went through our own little grieving process, but that's probably been a year ago, honestly, when they started driving and were gone all the time. And I feel like now we're at the point where, like,
we got it.
It's gonna be all right. We still got a lot of fun ahead of us. So anyway, that's us. And today we are going to show you, in fact, we just wrapped it up, where we are at as far as raising steers, because we have a meat business. We built it. It came as a result really of this YouTube channel and of our homesteading. It just was a product of, we were raising more than our family needed. We started selling to family and friends. One thing led to another, and now we have a full-blown meat business where we sell and deliver locally and we ship. So anyway, we're just showing you today where we're at, some tips and tricks with raising steers. We raise mainly beef and pork. We've raised chicken and turkeys and all kinds of stuff as well, but mainly beef and pork. We have certain breeds we like. We like South Poles in cows, and we like old spots in pigs. And so we're just kind of showing where we're at today, giving some tips and tricks and talking about the future of our herd.
Would you say that's our bread and butter?
Yeah, I guess so. So come along with us and let's get some work done.
Yep.
They will come to a whistle.
Full skeevers?
Yep. We raise steers here to process for beef, and one of the best things you can do if you're going to do that is have a way, I hate to use the word weigh, have a way to weigh them. That goes for steers as well as it's really handy if you can weigh pigs if you're raising those. There's just a time to weigh lots of different animals on your farm, and steers are definitely one of those. You can eyeball them and get in the general vicinity, but there's nothing like actually getting an accurate weight. And what that will do for you is you'll know what to expect when you're taking them to the processor. You can give your customer or yourself, if it's for yourself, more of an idea of what you are going to get back in actual meat. There's formulas that are pretty accurate if you can get a live weight that will help you figure out what your rail weight or hanging weight is going to be, and then down to basically your bring home weight, and it is pretty close. So that helps you know kind of more of how much meat you're going to have if you take your steers to the processor at a certain weight. So that's what we're out here today. We are hoping, we really want to get ours raised to over 1,000 pounds live weight in amount of time that they're still tender. So that's the goal. We're going to see how far off we are from that today. Really, we would like to get them, let me add this, we'd really like to get them to 1,200 pounds, but there's things in that you have to do to ever be able to get one raised to that size in the amount of time that they'll still be good and young and tender. So I'm going to start showing some of that on videos and how we get them a good start in eating and all the things to be successful at raising steers. It's not just throw an animal out on grass and hope for the best. So one thing we are going to kind of find out today, this is a group of 7 steers that were all raised here on our farm. They are at this point all about 1.5 years old. So out of this group of 7, 6 of them were steered at birth, meaning when we discovered out in the field that their moms had them, we tagged them and we banded them right then, like usually within 24 hours of birth. One of them, we've already had one that has been taken to the processor, but there's one left in this group that we left a bull for months and months because we actually thought we might sell him as a bull, wound up going a different direction, and we banded him months later. So we're gonna see if he just totally outdid the others, if he's about the same. We're gonna find out together. Always make sure your scale is zeroed out before you open the gate. Go, go, go.
Take 35-ish.
Okay, so this is the one that was steered much later in life. And he's the same age as the others we're gonna weigh next, but he weighs 835, so that's pretty good. That's actually better than I expected. So
we're not far off from where we want to be, but we still got a little bit of growing out to do.
So the second one we weighed 725. So you can see that is a difference of 90 pounds. It's a pretty big difference considering that the first one's number was 2213 and the second one is 2214. The way we number our calves, the 22 means they were born in 2022, and the fact that one's 13 and one's 14, they were born very close together. That's a pretty big proponent for delaying steering them, but we'll see how this turns out in the end. This next one has been one of our favorite looking ones since he was born. He's muscular, he's kind of high-headed a little bit, but he is good looking as far as his muscle structure and everything, so I'm really interested to see what he weighs. And he weighs 845, so he's 10 pounds more than that first one, and he's been steered since the day he was born. So I don't know, that theory's kind of busted on him. 780, looking good. All right, this one is the smallest one so far at 715, but its mama is one of my milk cows. I can't remember if its mom was Blondie or Butter, but either way, its mama is a milk breed, and that's gonna make it thinner. They're just not bred for meat, they're bred for milk, but it is half beef, so it'll still be a really good steer, and they're not worth a whole lot, a milk steer, you know, if you take them to an auction. So we just go ahead and process them as well. And finally, this last one, he doesn't really count in my experiment because he got a bit wormy on us. Sometimes they do that. Some of them just grow off a lot better. Some of them, you know, struggle if they get a parasite or something. So he's about 600 pounds. That's small, but he's kind of what, when you're doing an experiment, he's one of those outliers. He's kind of too far out of the group to even consider him really. So we're going to kind of throw him out. The rest of them were really, really close in weight. I told you all their weights. And also, I don't know if you could consider that dairy one, but it was right in there with the rest of them. So they were all from 7:15 all the way up to 8:45. There was a couple of them. There were 8:35 and 8:45, and that was the one that was the bull for a long time, and then we steered him, and then another one. So pretty pleased with where these are at. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, we don't have much further to go with them.
Yeah, like I said, Ben knows more about this than I do, but ideally we want to get them to about 1,200 pounds live weight. We haven't been able to do that yet. That's a pretty good size. Go on, buddy.
So here lately, when we've been growing them out and weighing them like that, I think the biggest we've done was 1,100, and that was a good size steer. I'd say most of ours are going to be right at the 1,000 pounds. We're trying to keep up with our butcher dates and all that, so keeping up with that and trying to grow them out fast enough to be able to maintain.
I think I took you out of the camera.
You got sideways.
They heard you though.
Trying to get them to grow off in the timely manner that we're wanting that. Sometimes that can be difficult. Well,
and I think too, like, just butcher dates have been so crazy. They're getting a bit better in our area, but some of you are like we have been. Ours are getting a bit better, but Arkansas actually passed a law about inspections and kind of opened some things up. I won't go into all the details, but kind of made it easier for us, especially if you're selling in-state. Now, it didn't affect us as much as selling out of state, but anyway, if you're like us, sometimes you got to take what you can get. So they are the size they are, and there's really not a whole lot you can do about it, because you had to guess on that date, maybe when they were not even born yet. We've had to do that with pigs.
oh yeah.
And it's completely fine. You're going to get wonderful meat. You're just not going to get as much. And like your steaks might be smaller, things like that. And for us, we need consistency. So like when we're selling, you know, a steak that we're saying is 1 to 1.5 pounds, we need it to be 1 to 1.5 pounds consistently, because that's what people are used to and that's what they expect. So, but if you wind up with one smaller, it's not going to hurt anything at all. In fact, you may even get more tender meat, but you're going to get less of it.
Yeah.
Hop on, Bubba. So we're over here. You can see we're being chased right now. These are the rest of the calves that are the same age as those we just weighed. Most of them, there's 3 more steers over here. They were a bit smaller. And then the rest of that group is heifers. There's 13 heifers. Those were all our spring calves from 2022. And then there is 15 more over here. There is 8 bulls or steers and 7 heifers out of that group. So if you're keeping count, we've got 23 heifers from 2022. We are hoping to be able to keep, what we'd like to do is keep all 23 of those heifers and add them into our herd. We really like them. And also, cattle prices are just so high right now. What we really need to do is go buy a whole group of steers that are just partially raised, that then we can raise in our program how we want to and get our numbers up, because we just honestly don't have enough to...
Ow.
It's a grasshopper. We just don't have enough to process, but cows are so high. Like even a calf about this size, maybe $1,500, and that's in our area. There's areas higher than ours. That's just crazy. It's really hard to make any money when they're that high. So it's tempting to go sell our heifers at that price and make a quick buck. But we're shooting ourselves in the foot for the future, because we need those for the future, for our herd, and hopefully cattle prices will remain high to when, you know, everyone kind of recovers and has animals to sell. But that's how it goes. It'll probably drop off then because the market will be flooded, so who knows. So you can see Ben is actually giving them a bit of grain. We only come over here a couple times a week and we do feed these some grain. These are just getting started. These are not anything that's like, you know, almost ready to be processed or anything. And what we're doing with this is a higher protein feed. We are trying to get their rumen going. If you know much about cows and their stomachs and all that, they operate differently than we do. And so we're trying to get their rumen going and encourage them to eat forages. We're not encouraging them to, you know, get all their nutrition from grain by any means. We're just trying to get it going to where then they eat more grass and hay in the winter. And if we can feed them a small amount and encourage them to do that, then they're just going to grow off better in the long run. Their systems are going to get to operating really well and really efficiently. And then when we put them on, you know, lots of lush grass or hay or whatever the case may be, and they really take off growing, which these are on the verge of doing, they'll just look better. The ones that we haven't given a real great start to in the past, once they're weaned off their mom, if you just throw them out in a field, you don't keep check on them and think, why is this one not thriving? It may need a little bit of help or whatever the case may be. That's just not turned out well for us in the past. So while ours stay out on grass all the time, year round, they're always on pasture. We do sometimes give them some high protein feed to give them a good start, because the start for a calf really, really does determine the outcome. So you can see back there, Ben is putting a little bit back there to the entrance to this corral. This is where we would get them up if we were going to move them or work them or whatever. And we have just found in the past, it's just not really successful for us to come over here or anywhere and try to run them into a corral they've never been in before. Even if you're trying to lure them with feed or whatever, if they're not comfortable, some of them at least are going to get spooky and they're going to lure others away. There's a couple spooky ones. One of them is that red whiteface you can see that just ran in. They'll run it for you if you just have one or two like that. So what we have found is if you do feed a little bit of grain or whatever the case may be, their minerals, whatever it is that's kind of a treat for them, if you'll put it in the corral or in wherever it is that when you go to work them, you're going to get them up at, it's going to be easy as pie, and it's going to be quick, and it's going to be so much less stressful for them and for you, because they're going to walk right in, you shut the gate, and you're ready to go. We've had so many times where we spent like an hour or two, or we're not successful at all, trying to just do the first step, which is to get the cows or calves or whatever up. Everyone's stressed, everyone's upset and mad by the time it's over, and it's just not a good experience. It's kind of one of those deals, it takes money to make money. And so where we're at the moment is trying to make some money off what we do have that is ready, and then take that and turn around and reinvest it. Because one advantage we do have from some farms is we're not trying to live off this money yet, because Ben does have a full-time, really good job. So we're trying to take every bit of money we make and put it back. So hopefully, you know, over the next few months, we can generate some income to where we can go buy some more steers. And then we've got it like set up for the future, because if we are able to keep these 23 heifers, I think I figured it up, and we would have like 63 mamas. And at one time we had like 70 mamas, but a lot of them were old. When we bought our herd, they were old, they had problems, whatever the case may be. So we've slowly sold them off. They were crazy, I don't know, lots of different things. We've sold them off, or we've processed them into ground beef, which they've made amazing ground beef because they've had steaks and everything else ground up in them. But it's time we have to build our numbers back up. And to build your numbers back up, you can't process as many or sell as many. So we're not generating income by taking animals to the cattle auction, excuse me, which is what most people do. And we're not generating income by processing all of them, because we're trying to keep them. So you can see it's kind of a catch-22, but we're working on it, and I just have faith it's all going to work out.